Well, they've given us the keys to the internet once again.
Crazy.
Good evening, world. Good evening, YouTube. Good evening, Facebook Live.
How we
Welcome
doing,
to another Studio Rats live Q&A. My name's James Ivy.
Paulie Drew.
He is the Paulie Drew. No, he's that way, isn't he? Because it's all backwards and stuff.
It's that way.
So the five.
You are that way. Oh,
I am that way. Yeah. The five people who are watching. Of course, I'm one of them. Let us know who you are. I'm me. I'm still here. Let us know who you are. We'd love to hear from you and all. Oh, come on!
It's every time. Every time. Come, Torquay's got to be in the house.
Torquay will be in the house soon, I would have thought. So we thought we would cover a few topics of this week. It's been quite a good week of news,
hasn't it?
We will start with the very sad news of the passing. Well, we found out last night in the UK at the passing of Bruce Swedien. If you don't know who he is, then just go and listen to some of your favorite records. There's a fair chance he was the engineer. I mean, most notably known for his work with Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson.
They got married.
Probably, yes. Who knows? But our thoughts and prayers and wishes are out to Bruce's family. Rest in peace, a true audio legend.
Oh yeah, absolute legend.
Good evening, Michael. Great to see you in the house with us. So other stuff has been going on. Well, I suppose the big news of the week really was the release of Pro Tools 2020.11.
Yeah. So I haven't upgraded yet, but
I have.
Have you?
I did it on Friday, which is normally very brave for me. I'm not normally an early adopter on these sort of things, but I happen to have some downtime in my music production schedule, and I thought, do you know what? I always say to people, don't update until don't update in the middle of a project.
Right.
And I wasn't in the middle of a project, so I thought now is the time to update. So I think I'm an early adopter.
Nice.
And it's very good.
Is it?
I'm very impressed. I am very, very pleased with it so far. A worthy Pro Tools update. There's lots of goodies in there. But of course, the real story here is the first piece of Avid branded hardware in quite a while. That's actually Avid made hardware. We don't really know where it's come from, but it's not of the stable of another manufacturer. They've just stuck their own badge on it, a la the MTRX.
Which we just say hi, Safi, hi, Steve, and hi, David, and we've already said hello to Michael. So hi, guys. So right. You just explain it to me. Is it the same power as an HGX card?
No.
Right.
No.
Okay.
So
that to me is a mistake. That's a big mistake.
Yeah.
Look, okay. Let me just chip in there. So, how old is HGX?
I think it's about 11, 12 years old.
Okay. Say 10 years old. How much does the price of chips come down in 10 years? And the power of that processing. And they couldn't put that in that unit.
No, I think no, I agree. I agree with your points. And good evening, Sean. Great to see you again.
By the way, any guitar questions? We're not just talking about pro audio stuff here. If you've got any guitar questions, guys, we'll answer them.
Questions or music questions or hair product questions. Paul's not really qualified to answer those, but hey,
kick a man in the balls. The bald man down.
So I think I agree with all those points, but I think there's a kind of a different approach from Avid going on here. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt just for a minute. I don't think this is aimed at the person who's going to buy HDX, because the person or organization. Let me just turn my aircon off because it's coming through and it's getting a bit chilly. The person who's going to buy HDX is going to buy HDX anyway. Right. This is very much aimed at the music. Let's call it not just the music, someone who dabbles, someone who's quite into their music production, has, a better level of gear at home. This is not an interface that's going to replace the MTRX. It's not designed to do that, or any of the high-end, super high-end interfaces. This is designed to be a way to give you the HDX key power, and that is 0 latency. Yes, you are going to be able to run some HDX DSP plugins, but I don't think that's what this is actually meant for. I think it's meant to give you that absolute 0 latency treatment that you get with an HDX card.
Or an Apollo.
Yeah, but even an Apollo, you still have to mess around with buffer sizes, and unless you're using Luna, of course, it's different. I'll come on to that in a minute. Mm-hmm. It's a $4,000 spend, $4,000 spend.
Man, it's
to get into HDX and an HDX, like an older interface, like an Omni or an 88. What they called an 1616 or something like that, you're talking $10,000 minimum spend. So to give you 8 mic pre's, eight analog outputs, ADAT, various other connectivity, which I can't remember off the top of my head, it's not a bad offering. The thing that concerns me a little bit, now I'm not going to say that they've copied each other, because quite frankly, development cycles take longer than that. But the first thing I thought when I saw the announcement, where the plugins go between host and DSP, depending on the latency setting you've got on the input, the first thing I thought was, hang on, this sounds like Luna. Plugins go between DSP and native automatically, and everything just happening in the background. I thought, this just sounds like Luna.
But then you're still relying on AX DSP.
Yeah, but same as you're relying on the DSP inside an Apollo for your 0 latency tracking using Luna.
Okay.
And of course, the other thing that concerns me is you've got one side of Avid doing their very best to open Avid up and open Pro Tools up to all and sundry and let anyone's devices work with it, and the other side of Avid is then going, hang on a sec, well, we're going to lock you down to this.
No, it doesn't work for me. I think they've put minimal processing in it for the most price that they can charge, and it's still not perfect. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get that.
It's strange. It's very strange. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a great unit. I'd say for me, $4,000 for 8 analog ins, 8 analog outs is a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot of money for 8 ins, 8 outs.
And it's not just that, because then you've got to upgrade you've got to keep your Pro Tools license. And
upgrade your plugins to AX DSP. Yeah, it's not going to be a cheap bundle. And if you're not already invested in a Pro Tools architecture and a Pro Tools workflow, this is not going to be the thing that tempts you out away from Logic or Studio One or Cubase or that free software called Luna.
Yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, I mean,
and of course, Luna is coming on leaps and bounds now as well.
Exactly. As far as I'm concerned, Universal Audio have knocked it out of the park. You haven't got to spend.
But they have got problems, haven't they, at the moment?
Have they?
They've got huge problems. There was the fire, the chip fire in, and when I say chip, I don't mean the potato variety. There was a huge chip fire at one of the silicon factories in China, and has taken out chip production for, in our industry, the big player who are going to be hit by this is UA.
Right.
Instantly, we're hearing rumors of price hikes, and there'll be no more bundle deals where you buy an Apollo and you get a satellite or whatever. All those sort of deals are being rapidly vanishing. So, it sucks, basically.
It does suck. We've got a question.
We have.
From Lawn Plumber. Is it morally reprehensible to be buying up expensive gear as COVID hits our finances? As COVID hits, our finances become tighter at bargain basement prices.
You're asking the wrong person whether it's morally reprehensible to buy gear, because I'd buy gear if it was food or gear. Yes, I'm gonna buy food, but the truth of the matter is that, as harsh as this may sound, COVID has been very good for the high-tech music production industry, because everyone and their auntie is now doing this sort of thing. They're doing podcasts, they're doing live streams. How many companies have set their staff up with a microphone and interface and some decent headphones for doing Zoom calls?
Yeah,
hundreds of thousands. There are, I'm not going to name names because that is just wrong, but I've spoken to a lot of people since COVID hit who've had some of their best months for sales because everyone's buying interfaces, mics, cables.
Mate,
I think what Lawn Plumber is alluding to is it a bad idea to spend money coming up to Black Friday? The truthful answer is, if you don't need it, don't buy it. A bargain is only a bargain if it's something you were going to buy and it's going to save you money.
So yeah, not only hardware but plugins like software and stuff has just gone through the roof. Like all of these sort of music plugin companies and music software companies, they're just they've had their best months ever.
Yeah,
their best year ever.
It's gonna flatten out. It's going to flatten out because eventually the money will run out. There's no two ways about it. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I think there is about to be at the end of this month another cash injection for the self-employed in the UK. So basically a grant is going to come forward again to get you through till the end of March time if you are self-employed. Because obviously in our industry, if you're self-employed and you're a musician, you are royally against the wall right now. No gigs. Well, if you're someone who teaches, it's very difficult to teach one-to-one at the moment. If not, again, morally reprehensible whether you should be teaching one-to-one at the moment. It's very hard times, but people are buying gear, and if you've got the money, if it's a choice between eating and buying a new microphone, for God's sake, eat. but hey, I've been buying toys because I like buying toys, and it's one of those things. The thing I haven't been doing is eating out, and I like doing that. So I like eating out. I like going out with friends, and I like drinking and doing that sort of thing.
I'd like to know from Lorne what you thinking of buying, mate. Just let us know what you're thinking of buying, because we love all that stuff.
Yes, we do.
Hey, Ahmed, good evening, and just ordered Positive Grid Spark. Nice one, mate. You'll enjoy that.
You will. Our partner in crime, Mr. Ayton, has also got his greasy mitts on his one, and he's loving it from what I've heard. So
yeah. Sorry. Steve says, "Hi, Steve. Quick Studio One question. Using the show page, can you use MIDI to switch patches on something like a Helix? I know you can do this with Ampire, but would like to know if it could be done with Helix." Yeah, I can't see why not.
If Helix receives MIDI command messages,
which it does. Yes. Yeah. There's no reason. There's no reason why not. There's no reason why not. So yeah, all is it just patches you want to? Yeah, all DAWs transmit CC. Is it CC for changing patches?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, no problem at all.
I couldn't tell you the CC number because it's been a while since I've done it. My first ever track band project, I bought myself a Korg Trinity keyboard, put the sequencer module in it, and I had a percussion track, a backing vocal track, and some keyboards and extra bits and pieces on that. We then had guitar, bass, real drums, and all real vocals. But I also put in all the controller changes for the guitar effects. So the sequencer controlled all the guitar effects changes. It was awesome.
During a gig.
During a gig.
That's quite. I mean, that's become a bit of a standard now, but that's probably a bit.
But that was
ahead of your time.
That was hang on, probably 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's impressive, mate. Well done. Good job.
I had more time on my hands then.
Lon says, bought a really nice amp last week from a guy who was clearly struggling for crazy. Oh, okay. I see. I hear what you're saying.
Yes.
I feel a bit bad about that, to be honest. That's some more. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
What was the amp and how much did you pay for it? Because if you said, "Oh, I picked up a Dumble for 500 quid," we're probably going to stand up and salute you. To be honest.
Well, the thing is, mate, is that the guy needed to sell it. It's different if he was saying, "I want £1,000 for this amp," and you're going, "No, mate, you're skint. I'll give you 500 quid." That's different. But if he was willing, if he put it up for that price, and you said, "Look, I've only got this amount of money," if you know that someone's struggling, you take advantage of that, then obviously that's a bit questionable.
It's great at best, but I mean, so I still want to know what the amp was.
Yeah. Let's know what the amp was. Yeah,
when does getting a good deal? How far across the spectrum does getting a good deal make you a bad person? When I bought that Marshall, I genuinely thought,
nice. That's a nice amp. It's a nice little amp.
That is a nice amp.
Is that the one that's based on an old? Because 65 amps, they did all of their amps are modelled or based on other amps, and I think the little Elvis was based on, was it a Magnatone or something like that?
I'm gonna bow to your greater amp knowledge on that one.
Yeah, no, it's a nice little amp. That
very nice. So, but say I still think I got a stupidly good deal on buying that Marshall, that JCM 900, but I came away from there smiling because I offered him the amount of money that he wanted for it. So,
Vox. I'd have had that then if it's like a
Vox-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So it's EL 3084s. I'm guessing. Nice.
I'm going to nod and agree and just go. You're talking about valves, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or tubes for our American cousins.
Tubes. Nice.
Tube.
No, I think that's all right. I think it's all right if someone needs some money and they, they're willing to
part with a thing for an amount of money and you didn't push too hard or didn't haggle too hard, then that's fine.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
That's called.
How much you pay for it? How much you pay for it?
Oh, everyone's watching the.
If you're comfortable saying. So yeah, where do we get to? Sorry, mate. We'll get into.
I think we were talking about stuff and things and start to questions. Brett Van V, I want to know what yes and brutal hours on that is. What's that referring to?
I think Brett's talking about Steve's question about patch switching.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that's a good price.
Yeah, you did well there. Well, I don't think any of us are going to call you morally reprehensible or anything. You just did well. So
I tell you what, pass it on to me, and I'll give you the same amount of money, and then you won't feel as guilty.
Paul, you can take on the guilt.
I'll take on the guilt. Yeah. Yeah. What else is happening this week?
I don't know. Really, I've been quite. Say that the job I'm currently the video projects I'm currently working on are taking their toll on my mental capacity. So I'm kind of a little bit at the moment. But I've just been. I've actually tidied up in the studio.
God, that's a first. Have you actually dusted?
I've dusted and I put. I can't quite make my hang on. Oh! See, there's a nice little rack of cable tie there, cable management, and I've just tidied up and things were getting silly. So I've bought some more flight cases and kind of tidied things away a bit. And yeah, it's all good.
Nice, mate.
Nice. Tidy is my friend.
Pinky MB says, what would be a good set of monitors for a small bedroom home studio around the £200 mark? New or used?
How much are those IK Multimedia iLouds, the baby ones?
Yeah, they're really good, aren't they?
They're amazing.
They're really good for the money. It's such a shame that it was brought out by them, who are considered to be a bit of a budgety.
Yeah, but they are good. Check them out. Dan Cooper, ex of Production Expert and now of Waves, really rates them. Says they sound great.
Yeah. They're really good. If you want something that's more sort of traditional,
second hand, you probably get a good set of KRKs second hand.
God, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably stick away from KRKs.
Yeah, but it's not your sound, is it? It's not your thing. It depends on what you like. I mean, so what I'd normally say is go into a music shop, listen to a load of them, and find one cheap, find a set cheap on eBay. But you can't go into a music shop right now. Well, those Yamaha ones, the HS8s,
HS9s, HS8s, yeah, they're all right.
They're all right. You probably get a pair of those secondhand.
I'm looking on eBay.
I don't think you get any focals or anything like that. Any of the older ones. Might get some of the baby ones. I can't remember what they're called, but
I'm just looking on eBay. See if there's anything used on there. Do you know what I heard, which I was quite impressed with, were the PreSonus monitors. Some of those sound really.
Oh, what's that other Fluid as well?
Oh, Fluid monitors. Yes.
Check them out. They do some really nice stuff. I know the owner of the company, a chap called Kenneth, and because guess
get your discount.
No, I can't. But guess how I know him?
How do you know?
Used to work for Avid.
everyone used to work for Avid.
Joke, everyone used to work for Avid. No, they make some good stuff, and it's competitively priced. That's a nice way of saying it's quite cheap. It's not cheap as in sound quality, but it is quite competitively priced in price.
What are those other? What are the ones that Julian?
Kali.
Yeah. Kali. Are they C or K?
I think they're C.
ALI.
Yeah, I think so. They are really nice. They're the sort of thing that I would think about making into an Atmos rig, because I bet you could get enough of those competitively and actually be able to make, because an Atmos rig of focals would be, eye-wateringly expensive, and you need to reinforce your ceiling to mount the ceiling ones. But I think those Kalis, or I think they're Kalis or Kalis, would be a really good option.
Yeah. The HS Pinky said, I never heard of iLoud. The make is IK Multimedia. They're the ones that make iLoud. But what about the HS5s? Yeah, I mean, they're absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
If you can't mix a hit record on them, it's nothing to do with the speakers.
Yeah. It's just I think sometimes if you've got a room and certain monitors are rear ported, and if you're in a small room and they're up against the wall, that's not ideal. So
no. There are bigger issues than your speakers in a small room.
Yes. That was it. Okay, it's picked up. CNTMPL8R. I'm trying to think what the word is for that.
Pilator.
Just picked up X-Tone Pro. What's X-Tone Pro? Don't know that one. Neural DSP Plini. Nice. And an H9. Nice.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Running through effects Katana artist. Oh, nice, mate. I would like to hear how that sounds.
I've ordered the Neural DSP, the Cortex. I've ordered one.
I'm looking forward to getting that.
Because you're looking for me saying, here you go, make some content on it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's gonna be good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that. We did try it in NAMM. We did try at NAMM.
Yes.
But I think it was like an early version, and it didn't feel right to me for some reason.
Well, it's taken from NAMM to now to become a thing that everyone's after.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Yes. I don't yet know what the lead time on it is, but hey, as soon as they hit the UK and Guitar have stock, I'm sure they'll email me asking for money.
Yeah, nice. Sundabapilia says, I have the Iris 3.5. They're the PreSonus ones, aren't they?
Yes.
They're the small ones. Yeah, they're really good. Yeah, they are. Absolutely. I think you probably get more bang for your buck with the PreSonus monitors than you would with those Yamahas.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Pinky says, thanks for super advice. I'll check it all out. The brands you suggested is amazing. Oh, cool. Me too. Can't wait to hear one. Yes. Awesome. Oh, yeah. They're talking about your yeah.
Cortex.
Yeah, how come the rest of the world's got it and we haven't? What's the deal?
I don't know. It's probably down to our ROHS compliance or something stupid like that, as usual.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to getting it. It's going to be good fun to play with.
Nice one. Oh, Hank's in the house. A little bit more pricey, but the Genelec 810As. Yeah, you can't go wrong with those Genelecs. They're really good. You might be able to pick up a pair used from around 300, 350. Yeah, that's true. Actually, I think sometimes it's worth looking at secondhand ones and better quality things like the Genelecs. Without a doubt,
I would
good call.
always say, and unless you are going for, if you're going lower down the pecking order, and by that I mean the cheaper end of things, get secondhand but better.
Yeah.
For example, whenever I teach, or whenever I ask me, oh, what drum kit should I get for little Johnny who's learning drums? I always say, go on eBay, find something for 500 quid second hand that was probably 1,000 quid a couple of years ago and will sound amazing, as opposed to spending 500 quid on something new and it being like a bag of bolts.
And also you'll be able to sell it for
exactly the same money.
Yeah. It's always good,
because it's all. I mean, yeah. If little Johnny then doesn't decide to become a drummer, you're going to get the same money for a Premier XPK or APK or Pearl Export. These are all drums, by the way, Paul. I appreciate that you don't speak that language.
About.
You're going to get the same money secondhand in a year's time than you would do than you bought it for. Whereas buying Supertone or something god awful from Argos for 300-400 quid, it's going to be worth pennies. It's going to be worth about £2.50 on eBay when you come to sell it, because little Johnny decides he doesn't want to be a drummer. And if little Johnny does decide he wants to be a drummer, or little Jane, for example, they're going to grow out of that £300-400 new kit very quickly. Whereas something half decent that was decent money back in the day is going to see them through. Is a totally usable gigging kit.
There is a link back to speakers somewhere. I don't know where, but
there is. It's just say spend the same money but buy second hand, because you'll get better. You bet when you're at the lower end of things. I mean, if you've got 25 grand, there's a lot of speakers you can buy, and they're all going to sound amazing. But if you've got 200-300 quid, buy something second hand that was 700-800 quid. There you go. That's my point, I think.
Good advice.
Oh well, we're pleased to aim.
Yeah. Any other gear news this week? We're a bit unorganised, aren't we?
Yeah, we are really.
Come on and just
thought we'd waffle. We were hoping that you'd give us the show, to be honest, with loads of questions and stuff. But I'm trying to think of anything else interesting's happened. I haven't bought any more Synergy modules this week.
Haven't you?
No, I haven't.
Have all of them arrived?
Yeah, I've got 3. I cancelled the other one. It was taking so long. They were faffing around. And
was that the Soldano one? Was it?
No, the Soldano I haven't actually bought yet. I'm going to buy that one new because it's on. Oh God, it was on eBay. It was an eBay deal, and the guy was messing me about with shipping costs. I was like, do you know what? Just no. I'll buy the Soldano next month when I've got some money again, or after Christmas and New Year's, whatever.
Talkie in the house.
Talkie's in the house.
Safety says, is there such a thing as a quadraphonic studio monitor setup, as in hi-fi world, or is it 5.1 and Atmos only in the pro audio recording world? Also, is a subwoofer sensible addition for a 15-meter square room?
15 square meters. Hang on, what am I here? 5x3. So that is 15 square meters. So I do have a sub. I don't believe it's essential. I have a sub because a sub come up at the right price, and I've got a Trinnov system to control it. It's not just passively running through stuff. I think that in a room this size is very silly. Again, it depends on the sub you're running as well, because a lot of subs have active crossing over and active technology that sets them up for you. The JBL, I've forgotten what it's called. The JBL system has got a
crossover in it.
Yeah, a sweet mic, and it sets it all up for you. But I don't think. I would say not. A sub is not essential. Yes, there is such thing as quad still, and you can still mix in quad if you want. The only thing is, how are you going to get it out of your room? You can, of course, mix to a 5.1 format and not use the center speaker and the sub. That still is a totally viable thing to do. Yeah, if you want to mix in quad, I heard some of the Queen stuff mixed in quad that was on SAC Super Audio CD that a friend of mine had, and he had it set up on a 5.1 system, and so you had the bicycle race guitars. It was amazing, absolutely incredible. I mean, you had to sit in the sweet spot, and that was always the problem with quad, as opposed to we then went to 5.1 and mono subs and things like that. But yeah, there's no rules. There's no rules in audio really, and any rules there are get broken very quickly.
My advice, Sophie, is stay away from subs, especially in a small room. And yeah, they don't tend to translate. Your mixes don't tend to translate very well using subs. I don't think. I think most people have a sub just to check a certain frequency range and then switch it off.
I don't mix with my sub on.
Yeah,
I only track with it's more fun.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun, and you can check you can check how certain things, how your bass is and stuff. But then most people then just switch it off to do the proper mix or to finish the mix. Where are we talking in line? I've got a Katana question. Ibanez Danny says, I saw your recording via USB cable. Do I need some sort of interface like Scarlett, etc.? I hope that makes sense. It depends. Are you Mac or PC, Danny? And there's a reason. There's a reason for this. So let us know if you're Mac or PC, and then actually I can tell you. James is PC. I'm Mac. If you
no, I'm strictly speaking on the fence because I'm talking to you on a Mac and I've got a PC there, so I'm very much dual purpose.
Oh, it's Mac, right, mate? You're fine. Let me know what recording software you use as well. Just answer me that, and then I can answer everything. While Danny's doing that, Lawn Plumber says, any interest in the Gigrid G3? Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's great. I mean, he does
What's one of them?
It's a switching system. It's a looper.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
A bit like the Boss ES8, ES5. Sort of plug a load of pedals into it, but it does some clever things. It is brilliant. I mean, that Dan Stanhart, he's a bit of a genius, a bit of a electronics genius.
I saw someone had posted on, I think it was That Pedal Show or one of those.
That's Dan Stanhart. That's the guy that makes
it. The guy with the most beautiful lacing of cables on it. I was like, that's stunning.
Yeah,
the guy, the way they'd made the pedal board up with all the beautifully laced in cabling and oh man, yes, that's proper audio art.
Yeah,
audio tech art.
Yeah, no, he's yeah. I think the G3, I don't know how much it is. I think if I was using a lot of pedals out live, I would definitely consider it. I think it's great if you're like a band that needs a lot of sounds and wants the purest connections, and to be able to have a delay somewhere in your chain and then move that before the preamp or before your distortion pedals, or and then in a different song move everything about. I think it's brilliant for that. I used to have an ES8 and I used it for a bit, and then I thought, nah, I don't actually need this, because most of the work that I do guitar wise is in the studio, and that's just a case of easily plug in. And I think that's quicker than actually going through menus and saying, no, I actually want the delay pedal before. Just pull out a cable, you go, it's done. Back to Ibanez Danny. He's in GarageBand. Saw you use Studio One. Was going to ask tips, rules of thumb to follow when recording. Okay, Danny. So I don't know if GarageBand does this, but what you need to do, you need to go into your drivers, into your audio setup, and with a Mac, we're quite lucky because we get the choice of straight out of the gate. There's no extra setting up. We can choose an input device and an output device, meaning that if you've got a Katana, you can plug your Katana via USB into your computer, and then you can say, well, my output device, my speakers are my Scarlett. Is that what you're using? Did I see something like that? You've got a Scarlett interface. You can say, well, so your guitar's going into the Katana, the Katana's going USB into the computer is then playing the audio through your speakers.
Yes. Absolutely. Bob on the money.
That's what a Mac can do. So Macs are designed for that. Macs have always been really designed for creative industry, like studios, photography, film, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Would you agree, James?
Absolutely. Windows is very much on catch up. There are ways of doing these things with Windows now, but it's not as elegant as using audio MIDI setup on Mac.
Yeah. If GarageBand doesn't do it, download the free version of Studio One, and you'll be able to do it in that. And that's the free version. I forgot what it's called. Studio One.
Free, light,
something like that. Yeah.
Essential, something like
that. He says, "Can I do it? Can I do that using a USB cable, or do I need some sort of?" Oh yeah. So just a USB cable, mate. You'll be. Jobs are good. Reenie, is it Reen or Reenie? Pedersen, nice. Renee. Hello, really enjoy your channel. Learned a lot. Was wondering about recommendation for a guitar amp for home studio use. Have been looking at the Victory Duchess. Oh, nice. Rev D20, best sound but not loud. The Rev D20 is amazing.
Yes, I agree.
Proper great sounding amp.
And yet I sold mine.
Crazy. I've got Rev D20 and absolutely love it. I think it's. To be honest, I've got some really expensive amps over there, and even though the Rev D20 is not a cheap amp, it's normally the first one I switch on. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly say that, unless you have a fetish for modular stuff, and then check out the Synergy stuff, because actually I genuinely think it's brilliant.
Yeah, the Synergy stuff's really good,
and it's not that expensive. I don't know how much the Victory. I was asking you about Victory, wasn't I? Just recently, because
it's the old Cornford guy, isn't it?
Yes,
his name.
Very interesting. It's nice stuff as well. So,
it's Anderton's and Cornford.
Isn't
it? It's their company, I think. Lee Anderton and I've forgotten his name.
The bloke
Cornford man. Max GarageBand. Hurts to tear it apart. It hurts to tear what apart? Oh, yes, the pedal board. Yes. Hank Stone. Paul, how much are you using your divided by 13 RSA 23? I use it for whenever I'm doing any sort of serious recording. It always comes out because I like to use a lot of different amps. And the great thing is both James and I use amp switches. So I've got my amp heads plugged into my amp switcher, and then the amp switcher then plugged into cabinets and load boxes and things. So I can then choose just by clicking. I want that amp going to that load box. I want that amp going to that speaker. I want that amp going to that load box. And then you can try out all different combinations without having to unplug anything. So yeah, I use it. I use it a lot. It's one of those things I would probably never get rid of, because it's probably the greatest sounding amp that I've ever heard. But it's very expensive.
Yes, but good stuff generally is.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you so much. Is the Rev D20 possible to use with Helix? Yes, it is.
Because it has a loop.
It's got a loop. And also the great thing about the D20, Renee, is that it's got 2 notes speaker.
2 notes torpedo emulation.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's got a torpedo out on it as well. So you can connect up via an XLR straight into your interface, and you get all of the amazing 2 notes.
And yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
It's really good, and it's so you can go out and buy a 2 notes Captor X for, I don't know what that is, about 600 quid. And this has more or less got exactly the same thing built in, and it's a great amp, and you can gig with it, and it's brilliant.
Good
Such
amp.
a great sounding amp, yeah.
Good amp. Very good.
Yours.
So tell me about load boxes, because you put out a video this week.
Oh yeah.
On the 3 varieties of load box you have, 2 of which I know very well. One, because I sold you the 2 notes. And I also have a Universal Audio aux, and I've played with you playing the tube amp expander.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to the chase. Which is your favorite?
Cut
because they have a very different sound. All three of them sound very different.
Yeah, and that could be because, I mean, you can't really test them like for like, because one uses, Universal Audio uses their speaker modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Two Notes uses their own speaker modeling, and so you might be able to get, the same speaker, and it would sound more like it. But yeah, I use them because I can just go, right, there's three different, it's almost like having three different rigs, and I can like layer up guitar sounds by going, right, I'm going to choose that one, I'm going to go to the aux box, there's a guitar part right now, I'm going to keep the same amp, but I'm just going to switch over to that low box, there's another guitar part. And because they're so sonically different, they stay away from each other in the mix, so it just makes it easier to mix, and you get more width and that sort of stuff. But I don't know, someone else asked that question about what which one would be the Desert Island one. The Boss one does the most,
Right.
so you can go out with the thing about the Two Notes one. I love the way it sounds. I think it sounds brilliant, and it feels really good, like when you're playing through it. It's really reactive. But because it hasn't got an attenuator in it, and it's only this model, they do ones. They do the Captor X, which has got an attenuator in it, which is, that's the latest version. Although it's a scaled down version of this. Yeah, you can't attenuate, so it's just a studio unit. The Boss one, it's got effects built in, and you can send those effects to your speaker cabinet. So when you're out live, I can take a D20, a 20-watt amp, take out that, which has got a 100-watt amp built into it, stick that on top, and then do all of my effects from the tube amp expander. So
right.
it's like, and then that little foot pedal you get for the Katana, the GAFC, you take that, and that controls it.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Now, the thing about the Two Notes, that say, I agree, the Two Notes sounds amazing, but for me it was too much. There was too many things to tweak, which is why I like the aux, because there's enough there to tweak to be able to get variation and change sounds. And so like you, if I'm working on a track, the thing I'll change will be the cabinet.
Yeah,
I won't necessarily change. I might change guitar, or I might change pickup, but the easiest thing to get me some variation for a stereo spread will be change the cabinet, maybe change the mic position or the mic, and you can do all those really quickly from a simple GUI. Whereas the Two Notes it's quite involved.
Yeah. Yes, there's always that thing though, isn't it? It's the same with like IRs, impulse responses.
Mm-hmm.
When you buy like some impulse responses from a company, you get this impulse response, and then you get the next one, which is like 2 centimeters away from the last one, and then 2 centimeters away. It's just too much choice. What we want to do, we want to go in and eliminate those choices by just going, right, that's a great sound, I'm going to put that down, because otherwise you end up in a fog of just going, is that one better than that one? Is that one better than that one? It just ends up a nightmare, doesn't it?
Which is why I like say the reason we did the swap with the Grossman and the Two Notes was I like cabinets and I like microphones, and to me, I'd swap the mic before I started messing around with guitars and pickups and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's the way I like to work.
Yeah, it's just too much, isn't it? So
that is why I like the aux, because the aux sounds quite. It might say, certainly in your video, the aux sounds quite here, whereas the Two Notes has got a bit of distance to it.
I think it's my video and the way that I've got the sound set up. But yes, I do agree with you.
The aux is quite in your face. So for a kind of a lead sound, the aux is great because it does put the guitar right there or there. Whereas the Two Notes, I always thought there was a bit, you had to dial the reverb down and the room tone down so far to get it to be really up front. But that could just be me and my experience of it. So
yeah, I think I do love the aux. I think the aux is. It just looks amazing, doesn't it? And I love the look of it. I don't think it's very practical for although it's sturdy, it's not practical for taking out live, is it?
No, I don't think so. I have to admit, when the guys from UA came round here back a few years ago when they were on their tour showing off the rather lovely Ox. Originally, it had. If I said a label printer from the 80s, would you know what I mean? You know those things.
Yeah.
And it prints out that it punches the letter into the plastic, so you get that white letter come through. It had got all the labels. Certainly, the rig label was done in one of those, and I thought that was really classy because that's the sort of thing I like. I like that sort of thing. But of course, it's all gone beautifully lithographed, and it's all sweet and lovely and amazing. But I really liked that. I liked a bit of kind of. It's like when Fender did the relic or the replica, of the Stevie Ray Vaughan, the SRV Strat, and they actually curled up the corner of the SRV sticker at the back.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they sort of relicked the stickers, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, nice.
A Dymo, no, it's not a Dymo because a Dymo, I don't know if it's the same company, but Dymo to me is label printers.
Oh, I know what you mean.
But this was a thing that you actually squeezed it and it put pressure on it, punched the. It might be
you had like a rotary thing on the top.
Yeah,
I know the thing you mean.
Yeah, awesome. Proper stuff of the 80s.
Hey, have you got that new mic pre?
I have. Let me just hang on a sec. Let me detach and I'll go and get it because while my microphone is wireless, my headphones are not.
Okay. Yeah. And any questions, guys? Bung them over.
Oh, you are okay.
God, look at the size of that thing.
It's not light, boys and girls.
What's going on there?
Right, I'm back.
What's going on there?
What?
What's the length of it? What's in that?
I know, it's huge, isn't it? This, ladies and gentlemen, is by a Latvian company called Simple Way.
Beastie, yeah.
And it is a hybrid dual channel mic pre. What is hybrid about it? It is solid state and valve all in one lovely, really rather sizable unit.
It's a beastie.
It's a beastie, but it sounds amazing. I used it a couple of weeks ago on the orchestral recording I was doing before lockdown. And it sounds great. It sounds really, really good. It is a beast. It's got a lovely, lovely feel to it. Notched pots on the bottom or dedented pots on the bottom and continuous on top with a dent in the top, which is nice. It's lovely. It sounds really, really nice.
Just a bit. It's a funny. I mean,
it's a funny form factor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. You have to give it some rack space on its own, and it will just slot in somewhere.
But that's the thing. So, just tell me, instead of making it like that, and that long,
yeah,
why didn't they just make it like 19 inches and that long?
Probably heat. Probably heat. And the thing that I have heard several times from people who make stuff what gets hot that is rack mountable is that you can say to someone, do not put another unit above this directly.
Yeah.
Put a spacer or whatever. And what's the first thing they do? Put an audio interface that gets really bloody hot on top of it. So stuff gets fried. So I kind of get why people are building stuff in odd chassis.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it easy for people who want to keep a tidy studio and want to keep stuff in place and plumbed in permanently. But at the same time, that is a beastie of an interface, and I'm going to do a video on it, recording overheads and guitars and stuff. And we're also talking to them about doing another project, a project where we use a lot more of their toys because they do make some really rather lovely things.
Hey, talking about things getting hot, you know the classic.
Yeah, baby.
No, not about you. You know the classic UA photo of a studio with Apollos, and they've got like 4 Apollos racked up.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Never do that. I mean, I've got 3 here.
Yep.
And I had them stacked on top of each other, and it just got hot. Like you couldn't even touch the front of them.
Front panels get toasty, don't they?
Yeah, and all I've done, I've put like a half space in between them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not even a full space, just a half space, and stays completely cool. Brilliant.
You do know why the front panels get hot, though, don't you?
Yeah, it's a heatsink. I'm guessing.
The front panel is a big metal heatsink. It's supposed to get hot,
but you could cook on it.
Yeah, I mean, when I had two together, I've actually got. I need to move things around a little bit, but I'm going to have an interface, a 1U spacer, an A to D, a 1U spacer, and an interface in a rack. Because yes, interfaces, like when you start stacking up like that, they get hot, very, very hot, and you have to be careful because you don't want things getting too hot.
Rini says, since the Capture X and Boss TAE have come out, I would think that UA would come out with something that's more practical for live use soon. But the Oxbox is great. Yes, I agree. Yeah,
I would say that UA. So obviously this chip factory fire has affected them. Not that I've heard that directly from anyone at UA, but you know, it was a fairly big deal in that part of the world. And at some point, everyone's going to switch over to ARM chips some point away from Shark, because it's old technology now. It's very old technology.
What's HTX?
I don't know. I want to say they're Motorola chips, but again, they're 11, 12 years old now.
At least, yeah.
I don't know what the chips are, but I think they certainly aren't ARM or any new architecture or anything like that. Okay. And I'd love to say that ARM stands for something clever, but it doesn't. It's just the company that licenses that technology.
Okay, you can explain this. What's FPGA?
Whoa. Okay, so FPGA stands for Field Programmable Gate Array.
Oh God, what did I ask?
You had to ask, didn't you? It's basically it's a type of processor that can work very, very very agilely and can run lots of different computations it's basically DSP that you can build yourself. If you are a programmer, it's a type of DSP that you can program yourself rather than having to get into DSP code and all that sort of stuff. And I'm probably vastly simplifying it. What I do know is that in the Antelope interfaces, which I work with, and I hold my hands up. What's the phrase? Full disclosure, I work with Antelope and they pay me. So, hey, they use a combination of FPGA and DSP, ARM chips, the new technologies, in their Synergy Core range of interfaces. Now, Synergy Core is the best bits of FPGA and of DSP. So where, for example, dynamics processing works very well over FPGA. Reverb and delays and time-based effects work very well with DSP, with ARM chips. So that's not to say that DSP can't do EQ and dynamics and saturation, things like that, but FPGAs do it in a more efficient way.
Okay.
So where you've got, if you know, a good balance of FPGA and a good balance of DSP, it's a good system. It's not all DSP, it's not all FPGA. It's a good, well-balanced system.
I wish I hadn't asked.
Did that help at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, you say that, aren't you?
Unless it's guitars and stuff, I'm not really interested.
Oh, you bought any of those recently?
No.
No, fair enough.
No. It's just
do you go by the fact that you've only got so many stands, so it has to be one in, one out?
No, I've got a load of stands that aren't actually being used. You're right. No, I don't need any more. Do you know what? I was thinking now. I literally do not want or do not need any other guitars. So I think I've stopped.
I've got two. I've got three on my list.
Go on.
3 guitars on my list.
What have you got?
And one of them's a one in, one out.
Okay.
I would like a real 335.
Yeah.
because I love that sound. And my Epiphone is good. It's a good guitar. It's my first guitar. I got that when I was 14. It's probably no, because I've got some cymbals that have lasted that long. But it's one of the only pieces of gear that I've had since I first started playing.
Right.
I've had it for a really long time, so I don't think I could sell it morally. So I'd like a real 335. I'd like an Eric Johnson Strat.
Which one?
Because the
F-hole one.
No, not the F-hole one. I was offered the F-hole one recently, actually. One of the original ones, not the bound, not the mahogany or the rosewood fingerboard. The bounds one. I think bound guitars are horrible.
Yeah.
The good proper tobacco burst Eric Johnson Strat. I'd love that guitar. And I have to admit, I've got a hankering for a Super Strat. I've got a hankering for a Super Strat, and do you know what? I really, really like those new Steve Vai Ibanez with the weird cutaway, the weird kind of like paisley cutaways. I know it's called something else, but I've got a real hankering for one of those.
A gem. I had, I don't know, probably 15, no more than that. God, I reckon about 25 years ago, I had a couple of gems. I bought one, thought it sounded like crap, sold it, bought another one because I thought,
I'll give it another go.
I'll give it another go. I've done that with Kempers. It sounded like crap, sold it. It's such a specific sound, and it's so thin. Right. It's so thin sounding that I just couldn't get on with it. And it was both of them. It wasn't just one of them. So it wasn't just like one guitar was bad. It was just like so thin.
I suppose what I should actually do is get all my guitars back up to a really good playable condition, because my Eggles sat behind there and the neck's like that at the moment. It's horrendous.
Is it? Yeah, you need to get that sorted.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it, although it's not a Super Strat because it has got quite a curved neck. I mean, it's not sort of planked flat.
Yeah.
But I love that guitar, and say I've done probably thousands of gigs on that guitar, so I really shouldn't just bury it in a corner and forget about it. But all the other guitar, if it wasn't a Steve Vai, it would be a Petrucci. I
think that's their biggest selling. I think that's their biggest selling guitar of all time. Well, which one, the JP6 or the JP7, whatever it is?
Well, I wouldn't go for the 7 because I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, okay. Oh, is that okay? Is that 7-string?
Yes.
JP. I see. Oh, that of course it is.
Yeah. I'd like one. I'd like one of those because I'm a Dream Theater super fan, so I can't hide that. I like lots of drums and lots of guitar effects and stuff like that. So something like that would be fun. I mean, a Luke would be great.
I think that's a more practical guitar.
Yeah, but brilliant sounding guitar.
Yeah. The ones I really like. I really like the ones with the EMGs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I love EMGs.
Hi-fi.
Yeah, I used to really like EMGs. I had a couple of Steinbergers with EMGs. The headless.
Headless. Was it the box? No,
full Strat. It was full Strat shape.
Right.
Headless, and they're worth a fortune now. Those things. I wish I'd kept it.
Was it Alan Holdsworth? Was the Steinberger guy, wasn't he?
I think he played something different. There was another headless thing. He might have played a Steinberger at some point.
Crazy instruments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so talking about not spending too much money, and I've probably just rattled off 10 grand worth of guitars there.
I reckon you could get. I think there's better. I think there's better or there's more versatile Super Strats than a gem. I think depends if you want something that looks ultra modern, which is the same as ultra 80s. I think
ultra 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen the new Strats? The 80s Strat is back. The neon ones without the scratch plate.
It's called the lead, is it? It's called the lead.
Yeah, they looked great.
Yeah, they came out. They came out actually some time ago. Probably at least a year.
But they look with the black headstock with the Fender logo, and it looks really cool.
Oh, you mean the HM Strats?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, they came out. Yeah, they came out about the same time as the Leeds. Yeah, i7H. Yeah, HM strats. They were quite good. I didn't like Floyd Rose's though. Floyd Rose's are just carving. Yeah.
It's to go woo with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Safe is a Alan Holdsworth fan, isn't he? So
I didn't.
yeah. Carvin. So Carvin was the headless one that he used to play.
Ah, okay. I was unaware. It's been a bit of a decadent Us Chat show tonight, isn't it?
Sorry, yeah, that's waffling on about nothing.
Well, nothing in particular, just or not spending money, really.
Yeah.
If anyone's got any questions, we'll happily do our best to help you not spend any money. It's coming up to Christmas and all that.
And we're coming up to time as well. So not that not that we're so strict on that, but if anyone's got any questions just before we
pull up stumps for the evening.
Yeah.
Anybody going once?
Going twice.
Going twice. Sold to the lady of the straw hat.
Right, I think we call it a night.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we'll do this again next week. We'll see if we can find someone who wants to come out and play with us and talk rubbish as usual.
And I'll ask Jack. I keep meaning to phone up Jack. I'll give Jack a call.
Yes, Jack's always good value.
Oh, he's funny. Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go.
Okay.
The last rush of blood to the head.
Have you tried the R&D MBC? So that's Rupert Neve Designs. What's the MBC? Hold on, I'll have a look.
Hang on. I don't know.
God, no, the master bus converter.
Oh no, I've seen it and gone interesting.
Who was thinking of getting one of them? Someone that we know thinking of getting one.
Was it Mo?
Oh no, it wasn't. No, it was. Who was on the show recently?
Gary.
It was Gary. I think Gary was, or maybe Gary was involved in it or something.
Yeah,
no, Gary was involved in the SSL, wasn't he? Yeah, someone was.
It looks interesting, but it's one of those. It's super, super, super niche.
So what is it? Is it basically like the SSL?
It's a bit fusiony.
Fusion, yeah.
But it's that thing. Matthias, I will. I'll have a see if I can dig out any friends who I know who work. Actually, I do know the marketing manager for Rupert Neve Designs. So I'll drop him an email.
Yeah,
I'll remind him I exist.
Please test it. No, what's the no?
No.
MBC converter. Wait.
Oh, we're waiting.
We're waiting.
New Rupert Neve converter. Yeah, we worked that bit out. Yeah.
Yes, the master bus thing.
Yes, it looks very interesting, and I'll see if I can get you one, us one to play with.
Nice.
When we're hoping that at some point in the not too distant future, in the next week or two, we'll be out of lockdown, the sequel, and we can get together and play again.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
We'll shoot some more video. We've got a load of stuff to test out and try out, and some fun things to try out. I've got some crazy stuff on the floor that I've not used in a very long time that it'll be fun to play with.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit cabin fevered.
Yeah, a bit isolated.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? It is weird. But, I get it. Not to get too political to the end of the show, which I seem to manage last time. So I totally get it. I totally get why we're in this slightly crazy situation. So keep up the good work, everybody. Stay safe. Do your bit for Queen country or whichever country you're in. Look after yourselves, and we will see you next week for more craziness. And who knows, if we get someone like Jack involved, who knows where the craziness could go. Certainly not I. So from myself, it's good night.
And good night from me.
And we'll see you again next time.
Cheers, guys.